MTG Scoundrels, it's in the cardboard.
Ladies and gentlemen, scoundrels of all ages, welcome back to another episode of Modern Weekly. Today on the docket, we have Eldrazi Ramp versus Domain Valakut. Starting off with the Devourer Destiny trigger. There's a fetch land into resolving the Devourer Destiny trigger. See 2K commands, an E-Temple, and a Talisman. So there must be... Yeah, that's a tough choice. Oh, it looks like going to put the K command on top, exiling one, the E-Temple, and the Talisman here. That tells you that there's already a soul land in hand. Speaking of, there's the E-Temple. And this fetch line's going to get cracked here. This is one of the Zendikar Rising fetches. In terms of the art. So that indeed is a Wooded Foothills. That is finding a Xander's Lounge. So I'll provide 3 different types of mana here. These domainless, of course, want to turbo out all 5 colors as soon as possible. Speaking of, there's an Arid Mesa that's going to get cracked. And there will be a Scion of Draco, so we are assuming here that Temple Garden will be found. And that is a turn 2 Scion. Yes, indeed. Cavern of Souls naming Eldrazi. And passing the turn. Sometimes you just gotta let the Scion resolve. Especially if they didn't start the game with the Leyline Binding. You got a couple of turns before something goes terribly wrong. Speaking of Scion, attacking in for 4. And there's a Renin 6. So Renin 6 is going to get upticked to get the Arid Mesa back. That'll be played for turn. End step, Kozilek's Command. 4-1. Scry 1 draw. Make a spawn token. Alright, looks like keeping it on top and drawing. Ooh, second Eldrazi Temple. And there is the Sowing Mycospawn to mess with this land. Exiling the Xander's Lounge. Thus making Leyline Binding a tougher card for the opponent to play. And finding another Eldrazi Temple, being that the Sowing Mycospawn was in fact kicked. Finding its own land off the first trigger, exiling the Xander's Lounge off the second. Quite the messed up Magic card. Passing the turn from there. Arid Mesa is going to get cracked. Finding an Elegant Parlor here. Surveil incoming after the shuffle. Looks like keeping it on top and drawing. Running 6 ticking up, grabbing the Arid Mesa. Scion of Draco attacking in for 4. That'll bring us to 12 to 15. Malevolent Rumble. Ooh, putting a Flage in the bin. Taking the plains here. And making the spawn token. Not a bad spot for the domain player, considering Sowing Mycospawn took out a land already. Real question is, what land to play here? Sequencing matters in this deck. Ooh. There's a Lush Portico. That's a Surveil. Binning the Forest and passing the turn. Quite nice lands from the domain player. There is a Sanctum of Ugin. Decent cards in hand. And plenty of mana to work with. Alright, Sowing Mycospawn going to attack into the Wrenn and 6, putting it down to 2. And there is a World Breaker, which will trigger... Well, it's going to exile that Scion of Draco. It's going to trigger the Sanctum of Ugin. And the domain player is going to scoop it up there. Game 1 going to Eldrazi Ramp over Domain Valakut. Thank you all so much for watching us here at MTG Scoundrels. If you enjoy our content, please like and subscribe. Be a friend, tell a friend. We are on our march to 500 subscribers and 1,000 after that. And as of the last looking, we were sitting at around 352. So thank you so much for subbing if you have. And hit that sub and like button if you enjoy our content here. Sideboarding. Probably not a ton being done for the Eldrazi Ramp player ultimately. But you will definitely be seeing consigns coming in if they weren't already in the main board, and for certain you will be seeing Obsidian Charmoz coming in for the Domain Valakut player, just a way to try to deal with the ramp that Eldrazi has. Moving into our ads, definitely check out our friends over at Arcane Artistry that make wonderful food, clue, and treasure tokens in the stained glass style. Link to their Etsy is in the description below, and they've been featured over on EDH Hijinks as well as the Spike Feeders, so definitely check them out. And of course check out hosts of our channel, Grove Warden Games, a wonderful place to storm out. Their link to their singles collection for Magic the Gathering is in the description below, as well as their storefront, so definitely give them a look. Of course check out artist of our channel, Sean Gerard. Their Instagram up on the screen with the QR code, as well as their email in the description below. For inquiries, they are open to new projects, whether you are looking to get art for your business or as a gift for a friend or yourself. Definitely check out Sean Gerard. Last but not least, check out our socials. We are at MTG Scoundrels on Blue Sky, on Twitter, on Facebook. Definitely like and follow us there. That's where you can find the most recent updates and always find our most recent videos, as well as banter with us if you like. We're always interested in talking with people who follow the channel, so definitely give us a look there. And as we mentioned, we are on that wonderful road to 500 subscribers, so definitely sub to the channel. We appreciate all of you. As we move into game number 2 here, the first one taken by Eldrazi Ramp. Eldrazi Ramp has been sitting pretty close to third in the meta for a while now, but it's not putting up the same results that it used to. One thing we've been starting to figure out is not having the One Ring has kind of hurt the deck a little bit. Domain Valakut going to be on 6 here. But still plenty of things to do for these Eldrazi Ramp players. And not having the One Ring has streamlined things a little bit for them. Well, there are some Temur versions. This one is in fact Gruul. Temur is just a harder... Well, I shouldn't say harder. There are people that are successful with it. But without the One Ring, it is harder to be able to splash those colors. The One Ring really just lets you be able to split your talismans between Talisman of Resilience and Talisman of Impulse, as well as play 1 to 2 fetchable targets. Alright, Domain staying on 6. Devourer trigger in the pregame. Starting with a Lush Portico. Keeping it on top, it looks like. Oh, nope, never mind. Gonna put in the bin. Devour Destiny trigger. Alright, looks like 3 different lands and a rumble. Already an E-Temple in hand. Now, if you're the Ramp player... Alright, looks like put a land on top. 4 specifically. Speaking of Forest into Utopia Sprawl, that is pretty solid. That Sprawl is going to be on green. There is a Triome. Domain unlocked. Shifting Woodlands here. Generally, if you're the Eldrazi Ramp player, yep, there's a Malevolent Rumble. You're going to want to really pace your colorless sources once game 2 and 3 pops around into these domain lists, specifically because they have ways to fight against your colorless sources. But looks like that Ugin's Labyrinth is going to be taken here. And more than likely passing the turn, I would believe. Maybe thinking about a talisman play. Yep, passing the turn here. Malevolent Rumble. Interesting choices. Though if you're the domain player, you're probably, yep, taking that Charm. If you hit their mana early and then have 4/4s behind, it's kind of difficult for the Eldrazi Ramp to deal with the Charmaws. Untapping and drawing. Alright, there's a talisman in hand. Deciding to play out the Eldrazi Temple. Okay, there's a Talisman of Impulse. Followed up with another Talisman of Impulse. passing the turn. Arena of Glory being played here. And passing. Doesn't have double red available. Okay. So apologies for earlier. That is in fact a Spara's headquarters. Honestly, it's a miracle people are able to even keep up with the different arts of these lands these days. So that would be why there is not a second red already, making that Charmaw something that can't be played. There's an Ugin's Lab. Ooh, not putting anything underneath it. That is a decision. And that is why. There's an Emrakul, the Promised End. 4 types in the bin, 9 mana. There is a Leyline Binding. Using all 3 mana here because only 3 different types. Okay. So while there's no Emrakul on the battlefield, still some decent damage can be done here. Alright. So, a Sacred Foundry in hand here. That probably gets played out. The Leyline, not really where you want to be. There is a Valakut in play, by the way, so definitely don't want to play that Leyline and start taking incidental damage. Okay. Going to play the Sacred Foundry, taking 2 for the domain player. Of course, Emrakul, the Promised End, lets you take the next turn of your opponent, and then your opponent gets a turn following that. So, exerting the Arena of Glory, casting the Obsidian Charmaw to go ahead and get rid of that Ugin Slab that has nothing underneath it, which would seem to be what was the plan. Still 3 mana available here, so could use one of the Leyline Bindings targeting nothing. And that gets rid of the Eldrazi spawn, thus making mana a little bit more tough. And then not much you can do from there. Still a binding, still a Leyline of the Guild Pact. However, that Arena of Glory is exerted, so it will still be tapped. And you get to keep your Eldrazi Temple as long as they don't top deck an Obsidian Charmaw here. So 4 open mana. An Obsidian Charmaw. Drawing a card for turn. Well, that's how you start. And there is a Flage that was just drawn. Not bad. So 7 damage done that turn. Domain Valakut gonna go up to 21. Eldrazi Ramp at 13. Untapping here. Still 7 mana available, which is pretty key. Well, we know there's at least one Devourer here. Ooh, 7 mana. Oh, there is Kozilek's command. I'm going to take out 5 cards from the graveyard and exile the Obsidian Charmaw. Looks like only one is going to be left. Going to leave the Malevolent Rumble. That's one way to keep yourself in a good position. But the main Valakut not necessarily out of it just yet, but they are going to pass. Okay, taking 1 off of the Talisman of Impulse to play a Utopia Sprawl. Just trying to protect the amount of mana that can be made. There's a Devourer of Destiny targeting the Leyline Binding, holding the emrakul, but that's going to get consigned, both the creature and the cast trigger. Just double checking there. Okay, there's 4 mana. There is a Leyline of the Guild Pact. Everything's a mountain. There's a Boseiju. That's going to deal 3 damage here off the Valakut trigger. Alright. Whenever a mountain comes in after the 5th mountain. Alright, there is a Devourer of Destiny. That's going to target the Leyline of the Guild Pact, so no more of those shenanigans for a minute. And there is a Leyline Binding answering. Alright. Well, maybe not just yet. There's a land passing, forgetting, unfortunately, that once that Guild Pact was gone, could not tap mana to cast it. No worries, though. Okay, attacking him for 6. That'll bring us to 9 to 15. There's a kicked Sowing Mycospawn. Deciding to exile the Arena of Glory here just to try to make Flage less of a thing. And now that Leyline Binding is going to go ahead and hit that Devourer of Destiny. And a Sanctum of Ugin is going to be found here for the Eldrazi Ramp player. There's a Malevolent Rumble. Ooh, another Charmaw. Yeah, another Charmaw getting milled over. And that'll go to hand. And Charmaw is going to target. Well, that Wooded Foothills is going to get cracked as well. Just to guarantee the extra red source to cast the Charmaw. Targeting what, though? Ooh, deciding to go after the Sanctum of Ugin instead of the E-Temple. Looks like another Talisman being drawn, and there is another Devourer of Destiny in hand, as well as a K return. Kozilek's return, that is. Sowing Mycospawn going to attack. Oh, the Charmaw gonna block. Okay. Taking one off of a talisman. And there is a shifting woodland. There is the Kozilek's Return, going to deal with the spawn and the Charmaw. Follow it up with a third talisman, and passing the turn. Passing back. Oh, another K return. But there's a Devourer of Destiny. That is going to target the Leyline Binding, holding the emrakul. Passing from there. Of course, choosing not to cast the Kozilek's Return. Oh, there's a Dryad of the Elysian Grove. That land's going to deal 3 damage. And it's a fetch. That'll go to 5 to 12 off the Valakut trigger. Fetching, going to 11. Finding the other Triome, that'll deal 3 more damage. But there's no cards in hand. That's 2 to 11. A 13-13 on the board. And scooping him up from there, Eldrazi Ramp gonna eke that one out. Still an impressive showing from the Domain Valakut player. Thank you all so much for watching us here at MTG Scoundrels. If you enjoy our content, please like and subscribe. Be a friend, tell a friend, and we will see you all next week.